If you haven't heard it by now, you're going to hear it now. The official YouTube channel and Facebook page of the Cuban government has been removed by Google Incorporated. The Facebook page was taken down and the YouTube page was taken down by a claim of copyright infringement. After protests by the Cuban government, the Facebook has been reinstated, but the YouTube channel is still down. However, the Cuban government has made a second channel. At the time of its closing, the Cuba debate channel had over 400 videos and 1.6 million views. The channel mostly contained videos of speeches and writings by former Cuban leader Fidel Castro. It was shut down because there was a video in which the Cuban government talked about Luis Posada Carles, who committed a series of terrorist attacks against Cuba in the 1970s. Apparently it was flagged for copyright violation, a false flagging, in order to get the channel taken down. If you'll remember, Carles was behind a 1976 bombing of a Cuban airliner which killed 95 people. Later on, when he was charged with these crimes, he hid under the Venezuelan right-wing governments where he was protected by U.S. interests. Later on, in 1997, he was behind a series of bombings of Cuban clubs and hotels, for which an arrest warrant has also been issued. But he continued to remain in Venezuela in hiding until the government of Hugo Chavez came into power, in which he was going to be extradited to Cuba for crimes. However, he then ran to the United States. However, since he didn't enter the country illegally, Carles is now on trial in El Paso for illegal immigration and lying on forms, which shows the true U.S. backing of terrorism. Denunciations and screaming and crying about terrorism all over the world, and yet here they are at home defending one of their own terrorists who murdered innocent people in Cuba. As Zionists run free, committing genocide against the Palestinian population, the U.S. looks the other way. Instead, they force our attention on the so-called Islamo-fascist movement that is supposedly sweeping all across the world, a mostly manufactured threat. While a real, genuine terrorist who has killed actual innocent men, women, and children sits in an El Paso jail for lying on a form. This man, completely under U.S. protection, will not face charges for the crimes that he's committed against Cuba and the Cuban people. The U.S. is well known for protecting its own terrorists. What also makes this a lot worse is the fact that Carles has never denied the charges. In fact, he publicly bragged about the fact that he committed these attacks against Cuba and that the CIA was protecting him, because he was a former CIA asset. He was also involved in Chile, and he was also suspected of being involved in drug running in the 80s in South America. To all the subscribers of the Maoist Rebel News and anyone watching this video, I suggest that you go over to the Cuba Debate 1 channel, subscribe, and show your support for Cuba, and that these false flaggings, very likely, downright obviously committed by the right wing, will not go unchallenged. I myself, whose Maoist Rebel News channel is not subscribed to anybody, will be officially just subscribing to the Cuba Debate channel to show solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Cuba.